Good morning, good afternoon, and happy Wednesday. Today was a trickier day today. Hopefully you did well out there today because a lot of chop out there this morning. We're going to walk through how you can spot that chop, how you can avoid that chop and still have green days even on days like today, because today was still a green day, a smaller green day, but still traded extremely well. So we're going to break it all down. Now, going into the open today, there really wasn't a whole lot to be watching. Now, I did have a few things. Of course, today, like I said, was a green day. Let me pull up what we were watching into the open now. Pre-market watch list, as you can see, we had RENX, KIDZ, and CCHH. So I had three things primarily that I was watching into the bell. And those were your real leading gappers this morning. RENX was okay, KIDZ was okay, and of course CCHH was okay. Now, CCHH price action, not too good this morning. We'll look at that here in a minute. But today was tough, man. I got to say, today was definitely tough. I was going to watch this KIDZ over 33 this morning. I saw on the watch list for the range to 38 and 50. Well, I look over the 5-minute chart and I see it putting in place a higher low here. And you can see where it also reclaims the 9 EMA right here. See right here where it reclaims. It pops above the 9 and 20. I take it for the move back to VWAP and possibly the break above to add back for the move higher. Well, I did get the first move that I was looking for, the move back to VWAP, where I got down to runners left here. And so took a pretty nice little trade here. I took it there at 29 cents, risking down off of 28, 1 cent of risk. And I got to move here back to 31 cents. So I broke the ice a little bit with small size. I really wanted this thing to get going today. It was my favorite setup into market open, but look at this. You had all this supply sitting overhead that it just couldn't really get out of. Again, heavy supply all through here, and you can see rejected, and of course rejects again out of the belt, and I just leave it alone. So it is what it is. I'm small green on this today. One little trade there in pre-market, no real follow through. It is what it is. Now, after that, going into the open, I was, of course, not watching QNCX today. This was actually on my do not trade list today, just because I knew it was going to be very choppy today with the lack of range, and it definitely is choppy today. So left it alone. So after the open, whenever we had KIDZ fading, and great. So we had SU and E actually gapping up, and so what we have happened here is we have this flat top off the high. Look at this. We open up and price gaps to about 218. Well, price pulls back and then pops back to 218. Rejects again. So let's look for the break of that high. And so I take down the breakout, stops going here off the previous high, looking for that continuation higher. And, well, I didn't really get that. So I got some trimmed off the highs here as price moved higher, of course, because I had my entry here. Look at this on the breakout at 222. I got to move all the way to 232, about a 10-cent move. Now, I took a little bit out there. You can see at 228 on the fill. And then it just rejects off the high where I take a full exit beneath that previous high. It is what it is. I was out with a small loss there. But as price did then pull back and confirm again off the 9 EMA, you can see this big wick putting off the low. It gets bought up again off the 9 and gets back over VWAP. So I take a re-entry to see if we couldn't get curling back up higher. And we did. And so I was able to play it back here from, you can see, 213. Stops go at the bottom of this candle off 2. It's about 13 cents of risk, a little bit wider than I would like. But got to move here back to the 220s, in which we, of course, rejected off the high again and took a full profit, as you can see right here. So, again, got a little bit of profit there, made back the first loss. Then I come back again. Well, now look at this. We have this low followed by this low, creating a higher low, right? We have higher low trendline support followed by the next low, right? So as this candle then pulls back, guess what? If it happens to get bought up here and here, I'm going to assume it's going to get bought up here too. And it does just that. It pulls back off the 9 EMA. I see a buyer start to step in and put in place this wick off the low. I nail the perfect entry and get a move straight back up into the highs. Look at this, back to $2.24. Perfect play. As it begins to reject off that high, as you can see, it took a full exit. And so pretty happy with that. Now, I tried to also take it, and again, we can see what's working and what's not based on these trades. Look at this. I try to take this breakout here for the squeeze up higher over the high of day. And again, it just sort of hesitates, and I take a break-even trade there too. But what I'm noticing is these breakout entries the market's not really hot enough for. And so I tried to do it this morning, and it's because yesterday we had QNCX that ran 300-something%. So I'm like, all right, let me try to get aggressive. Well, not time for that yet, clearly. And so what I'm noticing is we want to make sure the trades that we're taking are not extended away from VWAP and the 9 EMA. The trades that are tied off of the 9 or VWAP, look at this, they're all very clean trades. But the ones that are extended away, where you're trying to take these breakout setups for that continuation higher, you don't really have that conviction with those chasers out there to really make this happen. So from an expected value perspective, the breakouts are by far the lowest quality setup that we got, just based on what we were seeing. And again, I'll show you the same on RENX today too. Look at this. So this one as well, I took a loss on this too. Well, I actually have two little losses on this. They're quarter size losses, but still, they're losses. And so we come out of the open on this, and we got this, of course, range formed out of the bell. We have these higher lows and this flat top high, which I'm looking for a break out of this range because then we have the break of VWAP as well. Now, what you'll find is the trades that I have the most profit on are the ones that were tightest off with the 9 EMA. Go figure, right? And so I try to get aggressive here. Look at this. Price is breaking out over this opening range. And so I try to take it on the breakout. And look, I do have a small win on this, but look at the lack of follow through, right? It's just gross. It pulls back, however, confirms off the 9 EMA. I take a re-entry, and oh my goodness, it works out to a T. And I play it from, look at this, from 32 back to 35. Easy. That was a beautiful play. And I've got a lot more conviction that way too, not worried about a fake out. Well, then it breaks out over, look at this, it breaks out and begins to hold off these highs. And so I add back the pullback with a quarter size, very small, to see if we couldn't get that continuation higher. Again, I'm trying this breakout again where we're extended away from the 9 EMA, trying to get this to leg up higher with just small size, of course, just a quarter size, and I take a loss. Well, then it reverses back. Above the 9 EMA, I take a re-entry, and I get to move back up into the highs again with a super clean trade. Right? I take it again, look at this, from 33 back to 34.50. It's very clear what's working. It's very clear where the money's being made. And very clear where we're not seeing great follow-through. The breakouts are too heavy. Expected value is not there. They're just not your quality setup right now. That's not what's working. And so I'm trying to get aggressive. And yes, I took a win on this here, right? Here's the thing. Yes, I took a win on this here. But from a risk to reward standpoint, it's really not there. Same here too. I took a quarter size, gave a little bit back. Should I have? Maybe not. But I think after yesterday with QNCX, I really wanted to make something happen today. It is a green day today, but I think after the big 300% runner yesterday on QNCX, the massive green day yesterday, I wanted to try to use some of that cushion to take it up in a big way today, looking for that next opportunity, and it just wasn't really there today. I was expecting to find some really good chasing action out there, really good breakout action after the big move on QNCX. We just didn't have that, right? We just didn't have that. That's all I've traded today. I traded RENX, KIDZ, and SUNE, and that's really all that I had. And now I'm happy with the trades. I'm happy with the execution. I'm happy that I left alone CCHH as well, which was my top stock for today too, but I left it alone because price action was so bad. This thing was spready this morning. It was choppy. It was tough to get positioned on. And I just couldn't really do anything with this. Look at this. It was so spready. I think this thing had like 5 or 6 cent spread this morning. It may very well have changed by now. I'm seeing. So this thing, it just wasn't clean this morning. And I kept on watching it. I was watching it over 150 for the pivot back over yesterday's levels. And I'm watching it through here. But look at these. Come on. Price action just terrible. So not a whole lot that I could do there. Not a whole lot that I could do here. The largest volume candle of the day was this sell candle off the highs. So it's like, well, it is what it is. So left it alone today, unfortunately. And of course, QNCX was on my do not trade list today too, just because of the lack of range after the big move yesterday from last night's watch list, or yesterday's watch list. So anyways, that's the day. I wish it was a bit more opportune today, but every day's not going to be a massive day like yesterday was. Some days are going to be a little bit slower. Yes, it was a green day today, but I still traded extremely well. I took a couple small little losses, trying to get aggressive, but not really time for that just yet, unfortunately. So that being said, that's my trading day today. Hopefully you traded well today. If you did not and you have room for improvement, make sure to journal this afternoon, review your trade, see where there's room for improvement going into tomorrow. That way you can end the week off on an amazing note. And as always, make sure to subscribe for daily content just like this if you did learn a thing or two, and make sure to claim your 7-day free trial in the description below to trade alongside me in real time every single day and get alerts, watch lists, chat room access, education, scanners, news, momentum AI, momentum journal, and so much more. And that being said, I will catch you back tomorrow, either here or over in the stream tomorrow morning for the trading session. Hopefully a much more active day tomorrow. Either way, an all green week so far, and hoping that we can just lock up a nice end of week. And that being said, I will see you there.